If you signed up for America's Baton Death March, a last man standing walking contest, in the hopes of winning unimaginable paper cash a politician printed into existence, and one wish, shout out Ray J, granted from the almighty deep state, how far could you walk?
It ain't fair!
Let's break down how to beat the AMERI-STASI in The Long Walk. 19 years after America's second civil war economically devastated the nation, the Green Shirts are hosting their much-anticipated, live-broadcasted Long Walk down some rural Louisiana back road. Why? Because it boosts GDP. Textile manufacturing stock saw a 150 basis point uptick, correlating with a live broadcasted slaughter of 49 young men who couldn't keep a 3-mile-an-hour pace. Or so the AMERI-STASI says. I won't bore you with the rule book, because even the major in the movie doesn't. Basically, the entire nation can enter into their state's lottery, wherein one young man from each state will be selected to represent them in the Long Walk. You can pretty much bring or wear what you want within reason, and you simply have to outwalk all other 49 contestants, as the major states. Walk until there's only one of you left. Maintain a speed of 3 miles per hour. If you fall below this speed, you get a warning. If you can't make speed in 10 seconds, you get an additional warning. 3 strikes, and you're out of here. Walk 1 hour at speed, 1 warning is erased, and so on. If you step off the pavement, you'll get your ticket without warning.
Come on now!
The goal is to last the longest. There's one winner and no finish line. Make no mistake, everyone knows what they're getting into. This event has been live broadcasted and witnessed for years. Everyone knows exactly what they're getting into. And yet, weak, ill-prepared, emotionally unstable simpletons still sign up. I just hope everyone has fun. So yeah, just walk and don't stop walking. Simple, but extremely difficult. In addition to having to have an iron motivation for a cause worth enduring hell for, and no, hot prostitutes isn't it, Olsen. Surviving the Long Walk will require careful and extensive planning, training, and preparation, things which next to none of the contestants appear to have considered. Our protagonist, Raymond Garrity, has another agenda besides riches in the genie bottle. Gamer history nerds. Escape your NPC rat race life and become your closest version to a hero in history by playing Heroes of History. Actually, even better than a hero. Upper management. I've been playing Heroes of History, a strategic mobile and browser game where I command simple workers to build a glorious Roman city in my image. Then I farm them for tax money to hire some bad mercenary heroes to fight my battles. With my loot, I've been building cultural centers to spread the word of my accomplishments, expand my city, and advance to unlock key technological upgrades like stone tablets and sewerage. You better put some respect on those sewer systems. A fancy army isn't worth a damn if all your soldiers are getting blown out by dysentery. With a well-engineered city producing a strong economy that supports my imperial army. My heroes Leonidas, Ocelotl, and Naya of the Cave Clan have slain many barbaric stone throwers. I do really dig how this game brings in real historical heroes with time-traveling anachronicity and beefed-up abilities. Like Albert Einstein is apparently an area attack siege unit, using physics and math to summon black holes in the enemy lines. Everyone's a gangster until the math nerd shows up on the front line. But Amelia Earhart, her ability is tactical evacuation. Sure, you'll make it off the battlefield, but you're not making it back home. The game's worth playing just to play as a souped-up historical figure. Go and download it with the link in my bio or scan the QR code on screen. Use the promo code STARTNOW to get a great boost to unlock your first legendary hero. Thanks to Heroes of History for sponsoring this video. He wants to assassinate the Major for executing his father years ago for a sense offense. I guess hippie music's prohibited in the new constitution.
Goddamn hippies.
To do it, he planned on using his wish to request one of the soldiers' carbines so he could split Mark Hamill's wig, ghost his like Obi-Wan. During the 300-mile hike, Garrity made a friend named Peter McVries. Peter dropped a line about revenge being bad. Eye for an eye makes the whole world blind type. Pete influences Garrity to drop his bloodthirsty desire for vengeance and to instead see the beauty in the world, like birds chirping and the scrumptious taste of those home-baked oatmeal cookies his mama packed him. Ultimately, Garrity lost his appetite for vengeance and intentionally dropped out of the race so Pete could win, thinking that Pete had a better vision of the future, where men lived in the present, saw only the good in the world, and strived to cooperatively build a better future instead of fuming over the past and gunning down those that they didn't agree with.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Huh, guess it really is all about that sweet, sweet revenge in the end. Really, I think the annual long walk is a great way to keep the dirt poor peasants that buy scratchers at the gas station from becoming violent towards the rich and powerful. It's the time-tested bread and circus show. See, simple, desperate people who are at the end of their ropes aren't inclined to take the long road. Metaphorically, they'll either go T. McVeigh or sign up for a lottery. As the state, I would prefer the most motivated, radicalized youth to sign up for my 3-day March lottery program than park a van outside my building. Pretty much everything the major says is complete BS. Let me just run his script for you. As you all know, our country's been in a period of financial struggle since the war, and we did the first long walk all those years ago to inspire and reintegrate the value of work ethic. Each year after the event, there's a spike in production. We have the means to return to our former glory. Our problem now is an epidemic of laziness. You boys are the answer. The long walk is the answer. When this is broadcast for all states, your inspiration will continue to elevate our gross national product. We will be #1 in the world again.
I'm not going to go through the whole rule book, but it boils down to this.
I love the irony of the overweight major saying the nation's #1 problem is an epidemic of laziness, when he can't even be to read off the entire rule book for supposedly the most influential national game, during which he's getting driven around in a Jeep the entire time, eating full meals and sleeping a full 9 hours every night as contestants fight for their lives. Whatever. He didn't sign up for the race like an idiot, so I can't blame him. I would do the same. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the road to prosperity is in enabling a free economy where money's traded for needed goods and services at a market rate, and cooperatively working to build, not pitting man against man in a fight over unimaginable wishes and a turn at the genie bottle. The state taxing the out of its cattle and using it to fund lottery death marches seems a bit antithetical. But again, if you're the state, if you're the gang with all the guns like the major, you're sitting easy. So why would you upset your own position? Morals and ethics have clearly sailed off a long time ago. I also find it hilarious and ironic that the whole idea here is fighting laziness by walking. Literally the easiest, least skilled, least productive thing to do besides sitting on the couch. The state really needs to sort out the price restrictions here too. Any wish and unimaginable riches? It doesn't seem like wording that you can really afford here, guys. They only really specified that you can't wish for anything that would result in changes of a state's policies. I'd wish for infinite wishes, but who knows? Maybe there's fine print in the rule book that the major didn't want to run through. But still, unimaginable riches?
I don't know, I can imagine quite a bit.
You'll get it.
Considering the money prize, a wish granted by a communist politician, and the consequence for losing. Very important. You would think that these young men would have trained and prepared a little better. Or a lot. Honestly though, no amount of money, fame, or wishes is gonna help you after the Ohio Army National Guard puts a 5.56 round through your eye socket. And with a 1 in 50 or 2% chance, those are bad odds. To make a bleak comparison, with a 1 in 50 chance of survival, you're better off playing Spin the Revolver Cylinder 21 consecutive times. In the Deer Hunter roulette scene, even if De Niro and Watkins had to pull the trigger for the 5th time in a row without spinning, they would still have much better odds than anyone entering the long walk. And 3/4 of these idiots don't look like they've ever gone for a long hike before. You guys will be walking most likely many hundreds of miles before the other 49 contestants smoke an AR-15 barrel. Maybe, I don't know, exercise a bit beforehand. Raymond Garrity looks entirely out of shape. While stored energy, aka fat, is important, that's only really if they're not giving you food during the contest, which they are. Anytime you need some calories, they give you a tube of concentrated food paste, so there's no need to carry excess fat on your body. It'll only weigh you down. All that weight is going to create stress on your joints, fatigue in your muscles, tendons, ligaments, and additional friction on your feet. For the same reason, you really shouldn't bring anything that you don't need. Some of the contestants are carrying basically big old duffel bags, crossbody slung with the weight low on their backs, sagging to a side. Probably the worst thing that you could do besides dragging it behind you on the ground. Keep the weight concentrated, tightly packed, high up on the back, equally balanced. Given the walk duration and how there may be cold nights, warm days, or heavy rain, you're going to want light layers that you can add or subtract depending on the weather conditions. A water-resistant nylon parka to avoid getting soaked and waterlogged. Shoes are going to be massively important, and dudes like Raymond are rocking their old passed-down kicks from high school. Well, I'm poor and I can't afford nice shoes. Then don't sign up for a death race you won't possibly win, dip. Velcro would be sick for tactical shoe reloads and avoiding lengthy relacing times where you're gonna stack tickets. But those may not have been commercially common in the 70s or 80s time period this is generally set in. Snagging a fresh pair of Benny the Jet's PF Flyers, replacing laces with more durable shock cord, and breaking them in might be the best bet. Then keeping a second pair easily accessible in your backpack in case the first pair gets worn through. Socks are equally important, and wet socks will f you up. 3 pairs is probably good. 1 on the feet, 1 drying in the open, and 1 spare. Shirts, a James Dean cotton undershirt, light flannel, a windbreaker, and a waterproof poncho that keeps your backpack from getting soaked. Loose fit, lightweight twill pants would probably be good. You want the airflow and the give, but man, like once that sun hits and your legs start cooking, you're gonna wish you could swap to shorts. That's tricky while keeping pace. The best workaround might be some sort of DIY homemade mod. Cutting slits down the outer sides of the lower legs and sewing in zippers, then adding a few snap buttons near the waist. That way, you could just reach down mid-stride, unzip the pant legs, roll them up, and snap the flaps in place to make quick field shorts without ever stopping. On that point, taking a dump is going to be quite the challenge, and nearly guaranteed to get you a couple of tickets. Eating MRE plugs or things that constipate you is necessary. High sodium, low water content, binding agents, processed starches. If you gotta go, honestly, having a pre-cut hole in the back of your pants might be the move. A little packed TP for wiping too, so you don't suffer the immense irritation of dirty ass syndrome. Chafing will suck, so throwing in a bottle of petroleum jelly or tallow to coat feet, inner thighs, armpits, nips, gooch, crack might be nice. A small handkerchief or 2 to wipe sweat or bandage up wounds, nice wide-brimmed hat to keep the sun off and give you a little shade. No need to bring extra food and water since that's provided and carried by the soldiers. It's gonna be a long walk, so keeping your brain occupied with some entertainment will be important. A sentimental token, something to fidget with, chewing gum, a mini paper pocketbook to read. Having your friends and loved ones write you notes to read for motivation, pictures of them, all good personal items to keep you on the path in those dark, exhausting cold hours. Sleep deprivation will be one of your worst adversaries. It's common in military training to go on long marches without sleep. and guys would sleepwalk off into the forest to use a tree as a vending machine. That will 100% get you killed here. The nights will be the worst, so for that reason, I'd bring caffeine tablets. Besides these, conserve energy, don't get incited by agitators, don't smoke cigarettes, god. Don't sign up for a death race wherein you're allergic to the provided rations, like Olsen. Most of this is just complete common sense and basic preparation. You don't train, you don't prepare, you die. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your training.
What the fuck? No!
Raymond showing up in his physical state is baffling. The fantasy here is him surviving to the end. It's Falalal story mode trying to message you about how this is a battle of wills. When Raymond is down in the dumps physically, Pete inspires him with the old wives' tale of a mother lifting a car if their kid was pinned underneath it. I call bullshit. Whoever originated that's mother must have been driving a little Tykes cozy coupe. No shot my mama's lifting the front end of her Previa if I got pinched underneath. That's like 2,000 pounds over the front axle. Yes, the mind matters. And yes, you can lift more when properly motivated, but not that much more.
T, come on. I'm burning.
I'm sorry, but if my whole family and friends' lives depended on me benching 315 for 5, they're all gonna die. It's a dumb, lazy person's delusion that if hit the fan, they'd be able to hop off the couch and John Wick everything. That the power of their fifis and angsty emotions will carry them through the dark hour. When Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how," the key word is almost. And that almost is carrying a lot of weight in that sentence. Besides, will plus fitness is going to beat will plus no fitness any and every day. Smart people prepare. They train their body so their mind doesn't collapse when the body gives out, because your mental motivation tends to dry up a bit when the body gives out. That said, the mind games are exceptionally important. Mentally keeping your mind set on small objectives and goals, keeping your world small, getting into a flow state. The less you think about the entire length that you have to travel, the better. If you could cut your own head off and keep walking, you would walk much further than with your brain coming up with excuses, justifications, rationalizations, bugging you with the BS, telling you that you're tired and cold and exhausted and not worth it.
Goddamn
Besides being physically weak, Garrity's strategy for killing the Major was bunk. The idea that you could wish for a soldier's hot weapon on the spot and smoke the Major without going to jail is insane. And yeah, Garrity actually thought that that was a potentiality. When Pete told him that even if they gave him a loaded weapon, if he killed the Major, that they would kill him on the spot. And Garrity responded saying,
"You don't know that. I'll be the winner. That's uncharted territory."
I mean, your wish was for the gun, not to be able to also murder someone. Bro, they are 100% gonna Swiss cheese your if you pop off on Hamill in the middle of a populated street, in which case you would be far better off by JFKing him at one of the near infinite spots along the entirety of the 300+ mile march. I'm sure there's a sloped rooftop that you could perch up on, explode his brains out the back of his head, and bicycle off to safety, or put an IED on the side of the street. The entire long walk is an unsecurable kill zone for anyone who wished death upon the Major. You'd easily get away with it at no risk to your own life. Sure, this way you don't have the possibility of winning any wishes or money, but that was never a possibility on the table for Garrity anyway. 1, because you're ill-prepared and out of shape, and 2, because if you succeed, they'll immediately kill you. Pete's played the game well. Dude's in very good shape, the best of anyone else. He obviously trained extensively for this challenge, which makes sense. His life does depend on it. He played the good guy nobody had a reason to sabotage, supported those who never had a chance of beating him, so that they'd be able to help support him back most of the way if he fell asleep while walking, had a bout of low motivation, tripped, other contestants tried to sabotage him, etc. Having a support group consisting of B-status players who can help you for roughly 80 to 90% of the way before they inevitably fall off is a smart strategy. While he didn't create any opposition or conflict, he also didn't really support any of the other A players that actually had a solid chance of beating him. This meant that A players who were solo, like Stebbins, were more susceptible to variables like loneliness, low motivation, nobody to help him in moments where he cramped or had a wardrobe malfunction. This is the most devilish part of the game, of Peter's game. There's only one survivor. There's no logical reason to help anyone that's not entirely selfish. No matter how much of a good guy anyone comes across as, their only reason for being friendly to you is to use you. You can't use people as tools overtly. They'll think you're a piece of shit and reject you, thus invalidating your key strategy. You instead have to shroud your ulterior motivations in goodwill, solidarity, rapport, friendship. Through deceit, you can disarm other contestants' competitive nature, lull their inherent conflict of interest, and if you play your cards well enough, even guilt them into sacrificing themselves for you. The pinnacle of a fully self-actualized Machiavellian coup. There's no better exemplification of this than Pete trampling Raymond's quest for vengeance with his moral high horse, soaping about how revenge won't bring his dead dad back, how reprisal isn't worth his life. When Raymond scoffed at an onlooking family for just wanting to see their brains get blown out, Pete says, "Look harder. See that? That's a family, and they love each other. We can't get mad at them for being conditioned to think that this is okay, but we're the same. You know what, Ray? Your wish means nothing if you don't believe in that family over there. If you don't believe that that's worth being saved, you may as well sit down right now and let them riddle you full of bullets." Their conversations throughout the walk were escalating with these guilt-tripping subversions of Raymond's core motivation, increasingly so as it more and more began to look like Raymond was going to land in second place. This culminated at the final night in town, when the streets were packed. Pete made his final move. He dropped back intentionally, knowing Raymond would run back to him and pull him back into the race. Notice how easily and quickly Pete returned to walking after Raymond came back. He never intended to get killed. This seemingly selfless move tugged on Raymond's heartstrings hard, the final prime of his mind towards sacrificing himself for the more noble cause-bearing Pete, and it worked.
I'm sorry, Mom.
What I don't get is Pete forfeiting his life by using his wish to kill the Major. You're telling me I out-survived everyone else in a nationally televised death game, successfully and quite pleasurably finessed my main opposition into sacrificing their life for me. I'm unimaginably rich, basically a national hero, and I get one wish for anything? Well, I'll have a Coke then. As for the Major, why on God's green earth would you grant Peter a loaded carbine after just executing his new best friend, who most likely told him about you unjustly executing his dad not long ago? Pete is going to gun you down. He wished for the carbine, and as per the state, you have an obligation to fulfill his wish, lest the sanctity of the national game be corrupted. That doesn't mean you have to give him a weapon now. That doesn't mean you can't unload the weapon first. You handed a loaded weapon to a man who has a very strong reason to end your life, then did the whole, "What are you gonna do? Shoot me?" thing, gets shot. Pure insanity on his part. While the movie ended with Pete still standing, he was certainly publicly executed shortly after under capital punishment. So of all our contestants, nobody survived. This was expectable, and I would never recommend signing up for something like this because there's very little that you can actually do to give yourself enough odds over other contestants to have a reasonable chance of surviving. Moral of the story, don't sign up for a Baton death march that you have next to no shot of winning.